Yo, what's going on, guys? This is Nate doing a quick little trade recap for the trades I took on Friday, the 14th of November. So I took a few trades and they netted me around 2.2k each, five of my Lucid accounts, so netting me 11k. And I'm just gonna talk about them, what was going through my mind, and just my analysis. So let's get into it. So first things first, jumping to the charts. So Friday morning, I woke up around 8 a.m. That's when I started looking at the charts. And let me let me mark out my key levels. Actually, they're already marked. So first of all, we have to keep in mind that where we are on the higher time frame, right? If you draw a box from like the start of the bullish move to the all-time highs, right? We're currently in deep, deep discount. So my bias for the next coming days or like end the month is that we're going to go up. The market is always designed to go up whenever we have violent pullbacks like here, this violent pullback. Always expect the market to return and come back higher. Violent pullbacks doesn't mean that the world is ending, that the market is going to fall off a cliff, right? It means the market is repositioning itself lower to come back higher. It's like a slingshot effect. So with that in mind, I marked out key levels. So we have some lows from the prior month, right? Here, and just watching these levels of sell side and some sort of reaction off of them. So you need to position yourself long when these levels get swept and when you see a confirmation towards the upside, right? Because what they're trying to do is they're trying to manipulate the markets lower, right? Here's how it works. It's the classic AMD model. Market makers will accumulate buy orders here, and then there might be just a random violent sell-off, and people will start to panic, right? People keep selling, 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 and what that's doing is giving larger parties a more optimal entry to take it long, right? And then you start seeing a violent reaction towards the upside, right? So this is the accumulation, manipulation leg, and then the distribution, which is the true move. So basically looking for that kind of setup going into today, Monday, Sunday, or Monday, Tuesday, waiting for some sort of play like that to happen. And it just so happened that it occurred on Friday. So let's go down to the lower time frame. We have the higher time frame levels right here. This was the AM low. And let's just watch price play out. So after we have roughly like 400 points sell off during the overnight, the early AM session, we are starting to trend a little bit higher, but buyers are nowhere near in control here, right? If you were watching the chart at this time, which I was, every single move we had up, there would be like a 10 or 15, 20 point red candle. So the buyers were there. They were not quite passive, right? Buyers were pretty aggressive, but just sellers were way more aggressive. If you were just watching the tape and saw the orders coming in and the volume, sellers were way more aggressive. So I think that's going to lead us into our first trade. And price keeps going, keep going. We re-sweep the AM lows. And I think around this time, okay, I entered long at around 670 here, and I was targeting this high. I tried taking a long earlier. I don't have a screenshot, but I took one loss before I caught this long, and we ultimately targeted 756. So 756. And that was the first trade. So the reason why I entered was we're already in deep discount. We reswept the AM lows and we see a violent reaction up. So basically I'm just riding the momentum and I'm taking a break even very quick. So whatever happens, happens. I'm playing with house money. I'm just playing a probability game. If the market wants to give me these highs, or these highs to TP me, that's amazing. If not, I'll get break even and I'll win the next trade. So what happens is we ultimately do not hit our objective, I believe. This ultimate objective up here, I think 766, we do not hit it, but we do take profits up here. So that's the first trade, or that's the second trade. I took some small loss here, trying to play the similar idea, but just there wasn't this like manipulation lower and violent reaction. It was just not as good of a trade. I think I took like a 5 point loss on it. So anyways, now going into the open, right? This candle is 9:20. We have 10 minutes until open. What I'm noticing is even though we've been buying up for the last, I don't know, hour, right? Sellers. There's no real flip in the volume and who's in control of the market. The buyers are slowly starting to get fizzled out, and we don't take this high, which to me is important because sellers are really pounding this level down. So right now, I'm going to be looking for some sort of manipulation lower into open. Even though my bias overall is bullish, I want to see a final push by sellers to then take us back up and long, right? But let's go. Let's go actually to the 30-second. Tell you what I saw. So I'm actually, I think around this time, I jump into, let me see the open. I think here I jump into, after this 30-second candle, right? We have like a 40-point move up, but it ultimately doesn't get sustained. We don't take out any high. And as it comes down, I actually position myself short at around, oh, well, the candle just flew off my screen, but I took myself short around like 720s, and the stop would be above the highs and targeting these lows. And ultimately sold the trade for around like 90 points. And yeah, just playing into the AMD model, right? Understanding how this works. So this whole move here, accumulation. Can get rid of this. Accumulation. Off the open, that is when you typically see a Judas swing or like a false breakout that traps sellers. So anyone who decided to chase this big candle down, those people are going to be trapped once the true move actually occurs. So once the sell orders get manipulated, the big players in the market, they start filling their buy orders down here, and now there's a violent reaction, and this is where you see like the higher time frame bias and continuation model really play out. And even though I didn't catch the longs, right, I was talking in the Discord, I was on live in the live trading chat, right, telling people, hey, you can be I'm bearish into the open, but bullish overall. And for me, it was just way too quick to sell short, right? Cover and then flip. That was just way too quick for me. Maybe it's something I need to work on personally, right? But but yeah, just being able to read the market and understand this kind of model, it plays out many times throughout the week. And what you need to realize is you cannot be chasing candles. You will ultimately end up hurting yourself, right? Maybe a few years ago, I would see these huge red candles, and on a pullback, I'd start feeling some FOMO. I'd be like, okay, there's going to be another huge candle down. No, dude. Look on the higher time frame, right? Realize where we are. We swept some key levels. We swept like a prior week low. I think on ES there was a monthly objective that we hit. These are all things to keep in mind and understand we're in deep discount. The market is engineered to go up. The huge sells that we see, right? They cannot be sustained forever, right? The marketplace is an auction. Eventually, the price is going to come down enough that people are going to slap the shit out of orders, right? And they're going to aggressively and violently bring it back up. And that's kind of what we saw today. And yeah, uh, if you guys were curious, it was all posted in the Discord, and I just posted the trade recap. If you guys want more of these style videos, make sure you leave a comment and subscribe. And I'll definitely do more of this. I'm trying to get the motivation to do more content. You know, I've been focusing a lot on my personal executions in the past like 2 3 weeks, and that has been going pretty well for me. Been going on a tremendous run with TPT and Top Step, but I understand you guys want more from me, and I'll be working harder for that. So make sure you subscribe, and yeah, take care, guys.